Hey everyone, welcome back to C Squared University. I'm your host, Latasha James, and today I want to talk about how to hire a marketing agency that you can trust. Listen, there are a lot of marketing agencies out there, and it can be hard to really know where to start, who to hire, who's going to be the best fit for you. And especially if this is your first time hiring a marketing agency, you might not know what questions you should ask on that first intro call or discovery call. So I've got you covered with the 10 questions that you should be asking your marketing agency. First question is a simple one. Why are you interested in working with your brand? Any marketing agency that's worth their salt is going to be able to give you some insight into brands that they've worked with in the past, maybe their own company values, their own unique value proposition, or that thing that really sets them apart, Maybe you are an eco-friendly candle line. Well, wouldn't you want to work with a marketing agency that works with other eco-friendly brands or that understands your mission and your values? Your marketing agency should be happy to talk about those things with you, and they should be excited to work with you. Owning a business, running a business is such a big deal that you should be super proud of, and you should be working with a team who's just as excited and pumped up about your service or your product as you are. So don't be afraid to ask that question. Why do you want to work with us? Because listen, at the end of the day, I get it. We're all here to do a job, but don't you want to work with somebody that you actually like working with, that's pleasant to be around, that's excited about your product or service? I know I do, so don't forget about that question. Second, do you have any case studies I can review? A case study is basically going to be a document, or it may live on a web page, kind of in a blog format, or it could even be a video format. But it's going to be something that explains how this agency took this brand from A to B. How did they help them actually achieve the goals that they set out to achieve? It's kind of like a report card for marketing campaigns. And again, it's something that any good marketing agency is going to have on hand. Now, they might not have them for every single client that they've ever worked with, but they should at least have a couple that they're able to show you and say, hey, this is how we were able to increase this brand's clicks and sales from their website, or this is how much return on ad spend we're able to get, and really walk you through and paint a picture of the work that they can do. The main benefit of reading or watching case studies is just so you can really know what it's like to work with them and what results they're capable of. Now, I think it's important to note that most agencies are not going to give you a guarantee of results because we're not fortune tellers. Algorithms change, trends change, anything can happen in the world. So it's not to say that you're going to see those exact same results as you're seeing in the case study, but you should be able to expect something similar, or at least know that they're going to try their best to replicate those results for you. So definitely ask for case studies. Next up, kind of similar to number one, but hey, have you ever worked with brands that are similar to ours? Maybe you're a sports team. I probably wouldn't go to the same exact agency for those two brands unless the agency is wide-ranging and works with a ton of different clients. But if you're working with a smaller agency or one that's more specialized, you're probably going to want to stick to their area of specialty and look for a sports company or sports team marketing agency, which I'm sure they exist out there. This is a really helpful question because there is just so much nuance to marketing. If you're good at marketing for sports teams, you may not be the best at marketing for eco-friendly candle lines or makeup companies or personal brands. There are lots of different best practices for each industry and each company type, so it is important that you know the team can handle what you're putting in front of them. Okay, I love this question. This one is going to make you really be able to see how prepared your marketing agency is. What's your average client retention rate? I love this question. I think it's so good. The industry average is around 80 or 84%. And what client retention rate means, by the way, is how long their clients are staying with them. So if their agency client retention rate is like 10%, that might not be a great sign. That might mean that their clients are leaving after 1 month because they're not seeing results, or maybe the customer service was bad, or there was no communication, or they just weren't happy with something. So if it is a really low rate, I would definitely probe a little bit more and ask, well, why is that? Did you change industries that you're serving? Did you have a sudden price hike? What's going on here? And give them a chance to explain. But in most cases, I would look to work with an agency that does have a longer retention rate because that really shows that they're putting their customers first, that they really are invested in your success, and that they're willing to do what needs to be done to keep their clients around. This is another really great question. What do you need from me in order to get started? Now, I know hiring a marketing agency can be a huge weight lifted off your shoulders. I know how much work it is to market your own business. It is a full-time job and a half, let's be honest. So you're going to be saving time, you're going to be saving energy by hiring a team. But that doesn't mean that it is only the marketing agency's job to ensure your success. It really is a collaborative thing. And especially in the beginning, there are going to be certain things that your agency needs from you. Maybe it's messaging, what are the company values? What is the company origin story? Maybe it's more of deliverables like, hey, we need your logo, we need your fonts, we need your colors. Maybe it's photos that they need of you and your team or the product or, whatever it is that they might need. There's different things that each team is going to need. They might also need things like access. If you already have social media profiles, you're going to need to give them access to your passwords or, make them an admin on something like a LinkedIn company page or a Facebook page. So it's very important that you know what your duties are to make this relationship run smoothly as well. You don't want to sign a new marketing agency and then just jet away off to some remote island because they won't be able to do their jobs and you're going to come back and nothing's going to have been done. And, that's really unfortunate. You don't want to waste time like that. So make sure that you understand what they need from you in order to get started and make this a success as well. How often will we be in contact? This can really run the gamut, I've found. Some agencies like to talk to their clients every single day. Some agencies, you might not hear from them, for a month or so. And it really depends. Every agency has their own working style and what works best for them. And every client is going to have their own preference as well. So you want to make sure that you're aligned and that if nothing else, you know what to expect. You never want to feel like you're being ignored or like you're being, hounded constantly by your team if that's not what you signed up for. So make sure that just like knowing what deliverables you owe your agency, you also know how often you need to be available for meetings, how much time you should set aside for that, but also from the service side, how often you're going to have access to them if something does go wrong or you have questions about that. If that's going to be an extra upcharge to have additional meetings, just get really aligned on that so that nobody's stepping on anybody's toes and nobody's feeling left out and not taken care of. Here's a really big one. How will you measure and report on success? I can say it till I am blue in the face. Social media success is not just likes and followers. Those things are nice, and those things can definitely be indicators of success. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, your agency should really be able to hone in on what they are going to set as your account's KPIs or key performance indicators. Now, again, likes and followers might be a KPI, but they might have something that's a little bit deeper, like return on ad spend or number of clicks to the website or, number of leads submitted. It all depends on what your company's goals are, but it is so important that you are aligned on this, that hey, every month I'm going to get a report on my return on ad spend or my website clicks or my follower growth or whatever that's going to be. You don't want to be taken off guard and not given what you need or given metrics that don't really mean anything to you. Your team should know from the get-go what they're going to be looking at and in turn, what they're going to be reporting on to you. Next question, is all the work done in-house? Now listen, there are lots of different ways. I'll tell you about the C-squared way, which is that we do everything in-house. We have a team of copywriters and designers and strategists who handle everything from one of our offices in either Boise or Carlsbad. If you want to learn more about working with us, you can click the link in the description box or visit csquaredsocial.com to learn more about that. But listen, some agencies do things differently, and that's totally cool. Some agencies outsource some of their design work or their copywriting or photography or whatever that might be. It's just important that you know whose hands are going to be on your work. I would like to know. I find it really helpful to know if my work is going to be outsourced, if it's going to be done in-house. And again, like who I can contact if I have an issue. Maybe I didn't like a design that was turned over to me. Is that going to take a few weeks of time to kind of go through the communication chain? Or am I going to have a direct contact right there at the office that I know that I can reach out to who handles all the design work themselves? So just a question to ask. There's not necessarily a right or wrong answer, but it is going to impact your communication and probably your overall decision. Similar question, which team members are going to be working on the project? So if it is an in-house team, like the team at C Squared, who's going to be your account manager? Who is going to be your key point of contact is what I like to call it. That main person that you can always go to if you have a question about your account. They might be able to quickly reach all of the different team members who are working on your project overall, and you're not going to have to be calling different people or emailing different people to try to track things down. So figure out who that key point of contact is going to be. Also, I think it's important that you have a good relationship with this person as well. Now, listen, you don't have to be best friends with your key point of contact or agency in general, but the communication should feel easy. They should be nice to talk to. At the end of the day, we want to work with people who are nice and friendly and make us feel appreciated and valued. So if your key point of contact kind of could care less or, just kind of treats you like another number, you may want to look elsewhere, or at least I certainly would. And the last question that I recommend asking is there anything that I should budget for outside of your fees? So when you have a call with an agency, they're probably going to quote you a monthly retainer in most cases. Hey, it's going to be $3,500 or $10,000 or whatever number that's going to be per month for us to run your marketing and get, your website up and running and all those different things. But I think it's important to also ask, should I be budgeting additional fees for things like ad spend? For example, if they want you to run Facebook ads or Instagram ads, is their quote including the ad spend, or should you be budgeting an additional, few $1,000s for ads? Or do they recommend that you take new brand photos, maybe, or product photos that you have on site? Maybe you're working in, Arizona or Michigan, and you're working with a team like C Squared who's in Carlsbad or Boise. So, in that case, would the team recommend that you take new brand photos in your warehouse? Again, this all just comes down to communication. You don't want to be surprised. And also when you're working with an agency, it's important to just be open to that feedback and, really try to put your best foot forward. I wouldn't want to run ads with maybe, 10-year-old photos or things that just are no longer optimized for the platform. So being open-minded about anything additional that you may want to budget for is super important. But with that said, you also have to know about it because we get it. You can't just pull money out of thin air. You got to really write that into the budget. So make sure that you all are aligned on that. All right, so that's it for today's episode of C Squared University. I really hope this episode was helpful for you. Leave us a comment down below. Let us know if there are any additional questions that you would ask an agency. And if you want to ask some of these questions to our agency, go ahead and click the link in the description box or visit us at csquaredsocial.com. We'd love to work with you, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye.